What's up? I'm Dan Blewett. I'm a former pro baseball player. And on my softball channel here, I usually talk about fast pitch and throwing mechanics, mental stuff, all that. But today I want to talk about slow pitch softball. I play slow pitch softball recreationally in a co-ed league. I don't play in one of those crazy men's leagues. I just like to get out there, have fun, run around, make some plays in the infield, and just have a good time. But the safety of slow pitch softball is something to really think about. And most of us are out there, we just want to roll up, toss the ball around, run out there and play. And there's not a lot of thought that goes into the game, especially at the more low, like co-ed levels. At the higher levels of slow pitch softball, you definitely see more pitchers with a helmet on, with shin guards on, because the ball speeds off the bat are incredibly high and just terrifying. And the softball field is small, right? Batted balls coming off the bat at 115 miles per hour at third baseman, they need to really have their wits about them, and even like third baseman, first baseman sometimes wear, a face mask. So let's talk about the safety gear that you should be considering, just the pros and cons if you're a slow pitch softball player. Just so you know, you can scrub through this video using the timestamps below, so if you want to jump to different topics, feel free to do that. Let's talk about cleats. And I think this is important because slipping is a safety issue. Most softball leagues won't let you wear metal cleats, right? Fine. There's two others then that are options. There's rubber, which are the black rubber kind of soft spikes. Those are usually like reserved for like kids cleats. Like it's kind of like your first pair of cleats as a kid. But they're also just like casual kind of adult cleats, like, whatever, $30, $40, pretty cheap. Those can be fine, but on really hard dirt, they just don't dig in very well. And if it's just rained and you have some short grass in the outfield, they're not going to bite through that very well. So I personally wear moldeds. That's the plastic molded TPU. It always says that. It's pretty easy to find the difference if you're shopping online or in person, but molded cleats are pretty hard. They're typically a white or a gray plastic. They're usually not black, but again, they'll say this on the box or on the online description. But molded cleats are great. They bite in pretty well. They're very, very hard. And they're going to give you a lot better traction if it rains and it gets slick, or if the dirt is really, really hard, and they'll still bite into it a little bit. Definitely go for molded cleats. And if you have had any ankle problems in the past, or if you're just like a little wobbly or you've had knee problems, I highly recommend 3/4 height cleats. 3/4 height, they'll get up to around your ankle, so they give you a good amount of extra protection. If you lace those bad boys pretty tight, they're gonna give you a pretty good amount of ankle support. I rolled my ankle in high school, and I wore 3/4 height cleats for the next like 3 or 4 years, and they really helped a lot, to be quite honest. So if you've had ankle problems or knee problems, because again, when your ankle rolls, your knee often caves in with it, 3/4 height cleats can be a really big safety boost. Let's talk about wearing a cup. Not real exciting. I play infield most of the time. I was not an infielder growing up, and a lot of the fields that we play at are chewed up, rocky, hard. They're not the best, and ball speeds are pretty fast sometimes. So for me, as someone who's like not the absolute most comfortable, if I played, infield in college, I might feel different, but I choose to wear a cup playing slow pitch softball. Now, they're not the most comfortable, so I did my research. My former business partner was a catcher. I reached out to him in the past, and we talked about it. And the one that I use personally is called the Nutty Buddy. It's this one, and this diamond shape is like their design. And this part at the bottom where it kind of really tapers, it fits between your legs a lot better. And this thicker part up top obviously is where, your boys are going to be contained. And this anatomical design is a lot better. And I find this to be really comfortable, where I don't worry about wanting to take it out if I'm going to go up and hit. I'll just put this in before the game and I'll wear it the entire game, and I kind of forget about it, which is nice. Lots of other cups are really wide. They're not very anatomical. They don't stay put very well, and they just end up banging around your legs. And that's why a lot of people just don't want to wear them. But if you can find one, do your research. I think the Nutty Buddy is great. Again, that's the one that I wear personally. If you can find one that's comfortable, it saves you a tremendous amount of pain, and it'll still probably hurt anyway. I mean, you see major league catchers in baseball, they get hit and they're always wearing cups, and they still go down in a heap. It's incredibly painful, but it could save you a 5-figure surgery, depending on how good your health insurance plan is. So it's something to consider about. I know, again, softball is very casual. Everyone just wants to roll up in their shorts, and just go out there and play. But you should really think hard about, wearing an athletic cup. I wear one. I played baseball. I'm a pretty good infielder, I think. But I still know that it just takes one weird hop to really mess you up. All right, next one, a batting helmet. Now, some softball leagues mandate batting helmets. Others do not. Here's my take on the issue. I've seen a lot of players get hit in the head in baseball running the bases. You're booking it down the first base line. You peak when you hit it, but then you're just eyes on the base and you're running as hard as you can. You don't know where that throw is coming. And in slow pitch, players are just at an average level. So ball speeds are lower, right? Throwing speeds are lower. And that's a safer thing than in baseball, where a guy might rifle it across the field at 95 miles per hour. In pro ball, that happens. But in slow pitch, throws are lower velocity, but they're also a lot less accurate. And players are not as good at catching as they are at higher levels of baseball or, women's fast pitch. So fielders, in a sense, are just not going to protect you as well by catching pretty much everything that's coming a runner's way. And especially going into third base with a throw from center or from right, that's coming in behind you, and that is a really narrow, where they're essentially throwing it at the runner's back because you're obscuring third base as you're running towards it. It's a scary play, and you can't see the ball, and it's coming right for you. It's going the same direction you're going. So in general, these are things that I think about as a person who's made the transition from softball into baseball. And I don't want to put on a helmet. I just want to be out there, free like everyone else. And really what it comes down to is I think people don't want to be the nerd wearing a helmet, because obviously you're not at any risk of that arcing ball coming in. Players get hit every year. Jump on Reddit, Google it, see, head injuries in slow pitch softball, they happen. And I guarantee if I'm talking to, a bunch of slow pitch players now, you've seen players get hit in the head, and it's scary. Even if the throw's only 50 miles per hour, those balls are hard. And if it gets you in the ear, gets you in the temple, gets you in the head, it can do serious damage. So it's something to consider. I'm one of the nerds who's going to start wearing a helmet to run the bases, and I don't care. If people think I'm a nerd, that's fine. I just would rather play free and easy, knowing that I'm not going to suffer a brain injury, on game 500, 7 years from now. If you've seen some close calls, remember, you can't take it back, but you can preemptively protect yourself, and base running can definitely be a risky endeavor. Next one. If you're a pitcher, should you wear a mask? Should you wear shin guards? The answer, I think, is yes. Now, depending on the level of your league, you might feel comfortable where you can toss it back up a little bit and be ready, and maybe there's not a ton of power hitters where it's not an issue and you feel safe. That's totally fine. You have that decision. It's an optional piece of equipment for most, but if you play in a league where there's a lot of big hitters, or you're one of these competitive leagues and you're a pitcher, definitely wear a helmet. Definitely wear shin guards, because there are some insane ball speeds, and 100 miles per hour to your head or to your shins, you're going to be seriously injured. So it happens. If you watch, slow pitch games on YouTube, some of these really competitive men's teams, those ball speeds are scary going back at pitchers, and there's no way you can react to it. I've been hit multiple times as a baseball pitcher. The second pitch of my pro career actually was lined back at me, hit me in the thigh. I got hit on the forearm later that year, 90 innings later. I got hit in college so hard that the only thing I could move was my eyeballs, which was a really strange out-of-body experience. But I watched this line drive into my leg, and I was telling myself, let's try to feel that. And it was just too fast for my reaction time. It was probably over 100 miles per hour off the bat. As a pitcher in slow pitch, you should really consider protecting yourself, especially if you're in a higher league with some really big hitters. My last one here is for coaches. If you coach third base or coach first base, which obviously is a platoon duty, right? You're just going to run out there and someone's going to take it this inning and someone else is going to take it next inning. But if you're just standing at third base and a big hitter comes up, you're only 60 feet away. Lots of foul ball rockets go past the third base side, right? Because most big hitters try to pull the ball. So it can be a really scary exposed position where you just hope that you make the right decision and can get out of the way of a 100 mile per hour line drive at third base. So they make coaches helmets because coaches have been killed in pro baseball, getting hit with a line drive in the temple, just coaching first, coaching third. Maybe they're not paying attention, but sometimes they are. They just can't get out of the way. Balls hook. Sometimes they'll knuckle. You never know. But you can buy a skull cap meant for a catcher. You can buy a coach's helmet, which is basically just a hat. Doesn't have an ear flap, so it's a lot more comfortable, but you also lose the ear protection. Or you can wear a full helmet. It's up to you, but I think considering some sort of head protection for third base coaches in slow pitch and first base coaches, I think that's a good thing to think about. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed this video. Like I said, I play slow pitch softball recreationally. I love it. It's co-ed. It's not super high level. I just want to get out there, feel ground balls, take some hacks, run around, enjoy it. I don't care if we win or lose. I like to win, obviously, but I'm not out there trying to prove anything. I just really enjoy it. And I also want to be safe and make sure that this little hobby of mine doesn't result in some major injury. And that's why I wear a cup. And that's why I'm wearing a batting helmet starting this week. Been around the game long enough where I know these injuries happen, and I've seen them, and I've heard the stories, and I know it's real. And, you just want to protect yourself however you can without making it overly cumbersome, right? I'm not going to wear a canine suit out there to play, and I'm not going to wear, a full hockey mask out there to play third base either. But just make the decisions that are right for you, and hopefully this discussion pushes you in one direction or another just to make sensible decisions for your health and your sport. Thanks again for watching. If you're new here, leave a comment below if you have any questions about equipment. definitely subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you here in the next video.